What's going on, guys? This is your boy J Money here. You guys know what this video is going to be about already. I really wish I would have posted this yesterday before we got this news regarding a update to a master rule. It's not a new master rule, it's a revised version of the master rule. The video I was really going to put up was the return of combo decks. It was going to, centralize 3 key points being Great General, the Cloth Heap or Cloth Heap, whatever, that's coming out of Ignition Assault, and Crystal Needle Fiber coming out of Dual Devastator. No, Dual Overload, there it is. And just essentially just talking about how combo decks have had so much taken from them, and lately, I think I've said this in a past video, but it didn't feel like you were playing a true combo deck unless you were playing Guard Dragons. Unless you were playing Guard Dragons, it didn't feel like a true combo deck. And, and I said it in my 6 Samurai video, I'm relieved because I finally feel like I can play a combo deck, an actual combo deck without Guard Dragons. And, I was pretty relieved for it. Cloth Sheep would enable more combo decks that don't depend on Guard Dragons as well, and same with Crystal Needle Fiber and things like that. And that's great because, again, I love having options. That is when I'm having the most fun, is when there are a lot of options in the game. However, this new change to the Master Rule kind of takes precedent. So, that video's scrapped and is getting replaced with this one, being the new Master Rule changes a lot. I don't know if it changes everything, but it changes a lot for the game. A lot of older strategies that we didn't need to respect before, you gotta respect now. Oh, that's for sure. There's just a handful of decks off the top of my head that I know players are definitely going to start testing with, and other players need to start looking out for and keeping in mind. I think I'll have to make a separate video on the decks that you're going to have to look out for, and the cards, like separate tech cards, like Dimensional Barrier is going to highly start getting played again. So I can already see it now. Dimensional Barrier secrets are probably shot up in price just in the past 6 hours. Something tells me that's exactly what happened. But anyway, this new Master Rule, for those of you who don't know, or for those of you who are still unclear, you got a little gray area going on. So this is essentially Master Rule 3. Where you can fusion summon, synchro summon, and XC summon in the main monster zones again. You're not restricted to one of each, like I originally thought. So you're free to spam XCs and synchros as much as you want. Well, where does that leave pendulums? Well, pendulums are still abiding by the current Master Rule 4 rules and such. So you still have to pendulum summon from your extra deck. You still have to summon it in the extra monster zone. Now, keep in mind, pendulums did inherently get nerfed, or no, not nerfed, they got buffed inherently because of this, and I'll go into that later. But, yeah, guys, Link summons are still, abiding by Master Rule 4 as well. Now, off the jump, people are excited and all that, but there's a good number of people that think because of this, links aren't going to be used, and links aren't going to be that good, and things like Phantasme is going to severely tank in value. No, that is far from the truth. Link monsters are still the most powerful mechanic in this game. They're the most generic. They do not care about levels at all. They do not care about having specific cards to perform set summon, like fusion summoning and ritual summoning, and they have the most utility cards available to us in terms of your extra deck. Links are still the strongest mechanic in the game, and there's still no reason why you wouldn't play Link monsters. There's no reason why you wouldn't still play Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, Borolo Dragon, even Boral Sword Dragon. There's still not a, IP Masquerena. There's still, no good reason why you wouldn't play those cards, because they're still incredibly strong. They're still some of the strongest cards in this game. And with this new Master Rule as well, and this is just a thought, hear me out, but because of this new master rule, it devalues extra linking. Because extra linking before was a win condition because every summoning mechanic coming out of the extra deck had to go in the extra monster zone. However, if synchros and XCs and fusion no longer have to be there, then extra linking may not be this just overwhelming force anymore, and maybe we can see cards like Nightmare Goblin, just return to the game. But we all know generic normal summons are bad. I love generic normal summons, but a lot of people don't. So there's a comment, I'll go ahead and post it up on Zodiac, and it's already starting. People said, okay, honestly, I honestly want to see Firewall come back at this point because extra linking is devalued. Now, again, that's fine and all, but you still have to deal with 6 cards: Cannon Soldier, Tomb Cannon Soldier, Amazoness Archer, Cannon Soldier MK2, Shadow Priestess of Ohm, and Tempest Magician. Those 6 cards still need to get banned. Like, period. Period, point blank, or slap hard once return clauses on them all. I don't care. The main issue is that because these cards still exist, FDKs will always be a thing. It doesn't matter how many enablers come to the game and then get banned. As long as those 6 cards exist, FDKs will always be a thing. These cards need to be addressed. They serve literally no purpose except to FTK the opponent. That's enough of that, though. So, what are some noticeable things right off the bat? Well, I did say earlier, I hinted at it, Pendulums got buffed indirectly because of this. Now, you may be thinking, that doesn't make sense because Pendulums still go to the extra monster zone, but Pendulums put up negates in the form of those XCs and those synchro monsters. So you can put up even more negates now because you're not restricted to those arrows. Another question I do have, and hopefully this will get answered later on. I know that you're not restricted to the extra monster zone with your synchros, fusions, and XCs. However, if there is a link monster already on field with open arrows, do you have to commit to those arrows? That's a good question. That's a very good question. It definitely matters. That question does need to be answered. So, until then, we're going to assume that you do not have to commit to open arrows from your extra decks. So, so that's why Pendulums indirectly got buffed. A lot of times you just didn't have enough arrows to summon more negates, even though you had the option to. That kind of goes away now. You can summon not only your Big Endymion, you can summon your Jackal King, you can summon Don Dragster, you can summon Vortex. Generally, you were restricted to those, but now since you got even more space and you're not restricted to arrows, you can now summon even more stuff. You can summon a World of Savage Dragon on top of it and things like that. So again, yes, Pendulums did get buffed. Don't get it twisted. Pendulums did get better because of this. Because Pendulums go into XCs, synchros, and fusions and that stuff. So yeah, don't let that deceive you. What do we need to look out for? Well, you gotta put respect on Fluffles now, man. Fluffles were a joke. They got patchwork and people thought things were gonna be alright. But hey, you still had to commit things to a link monster. You had to fuse things off in the extra monster zone into more fusions, and that just tanked the value of the OTK. But because of this new change, Fluffles is now something you're going to have to respect. A lot of people are probably going to start playing with more Shaddolls and things like that. You could probably start seeing more Lunalights. Lunalights are played right now, but hey, now you don't have to worry about the extra monster zone. You gotta maybe think about that. Now, XC's basics, Dante's, Burning Abyss, and all that. Now, I still don't know why you wouldn't still make Cherubini, because Cherubini is still an impressive and a pretty strong card. There's no reason not to do that. But decks like Plants, I can actually see becoming much more relevant and things to that respect. Just dragon-based decks are still going to be a thing because guard dragons are still there and all that. I'm excited for that. Now, the one thing that people are really thinking about and that people probably haven't thought about is synchros, man. Keep in mind, guys, Hyper Librarian is at 3. Trishula is at 3. You know, no erotic Trishula is at 3. Junk Speeder is actually, now come to think of it, Junk Speeder is actually really good now. Like, insanely good. And we're about to get Crystal Needle Fiber. Like, I don't know, man. I think Junk Speeder with 3 Trishes, 3 Hyper Librarians, that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Mark my words on that. DDDs are actually pretty good now. A lot of people are talking about DDDs. You know, just those decks that have every color of the rainbow have gotten a lot better. I'm excited to see DDDs actually try and do something in today's game. Thunder Dragons got stronger, unfortunately. That kind of sucks. Hopefully that means Unicorn goes back to 3, but this changes a lot. This allows stronger cards that were focused around links to maybe come back. One can hope. And also, this kind of worries me at the same time because although all of this in theory in a vacuum is great and fantastic, you know, people get to play the Infernities and all that stuff. The thing that worries me is I feel like there's going to be a massive, massive ban list. I feel it. I feel like probably the biggest ban list we've ever seen is coming to this game once this Master Rule hits. Something tells me that because, you know, of course players are shaking their heads thinking, man, this game's about to get so out of control. Who's ready for more FDKs and unbreakable boards and things like that. You know, players, you can't please players. You just can't. You know, people just can't be happy, can they? But that's I feel like that's what's about to happen. I feel like we're gonna get the biggest ban list. We're gonna get about like 50 to 60 hits on a ban list. I feel it, and I don't like it. Because I hate it when things get hit because it means you're losing out on options for things. You know, for your favorite decks out there are losing viable options to be playable in the first place. Again, cards like Needle Fiber and Summon Sword for those lower tier decks like Six Samurais and all that. No, we don't want them to be meta. We just want our favorite decks to be playable. We don't want them meta. We want them playable. That's all we want. So hopefully this also means decks, link-based decks aren't getting hit as hard like Orcus or something. Now, granted, you know, for us, we're probably getting this next Master Roll in August, so if we're getting it in August, that's over 6 months going into 2020. Something tells me Orcus will not still be here, but in any case, if Orcus somehow still manages to skeet on by and all that, honestly, I feel like with this new change, decks like Orcus and Salamangreat don't feel as strong when you have other decks boosted up to the level. See, that's what I want. I don't want, this is why we get stale games. We get stale meta games because you're not boosting other decks up and you're shaving off the top decks, but you're making subpar archetypes and things like that. And nothing's changing because those decks are still, they're the only viable options. But hey, when everything's viable, then hey, now you're looking at something totally different. Now Orcus isn't looking, just looking so dominant anymore now, does it? I could be wrong. And now again, there's a handful of things that I take note of so far. One, dimensional barriers is going to highly start getting played again. So look out for dimensional barriers, look out for Fluffles, look out for DDDs, look out for synchro based decks in general, because again, Junk Speeder is an insane card. I think people forgot all about that card. I still have all my promo packs unopened of the Junk Speeders and all that stuff still there. Trishula is at 3. Hyper Librarian is also at 3. Crazy shenanigans, let's go. Shooting Riser Dragon is a synchro. Synchro on the opponent's turn. Needle Fiber. Imagine this, man. You're summoning 3 Trishes, you rip 3 cards from your opponent's hand, and you go Needle Fiber on the opponent's turn. Summon Desert Locust, rip another card from hand. You probably summon an Omega too. And you sink on the opponent's turn into, I don't know, a Warlord Savage Dragon. Or, yeah. And just, hey, I just ripped all the cards in my opponent's hand. I have a million cards in hand because I went into 3 Hyper Librarians. I drew. I only played like 2 Link Monsters in my extra deck, being Needle Fiber. And hey, I'm good to go. So I'm seeing crazy synchro decks, man. I'm seeing Infernities actually make a nice comeback. Thanks in part to this change in the Master Rule, because Summon Sword getting banned was a big deal to Infernities. Let's be honest, man. Now again, this does not mean Links will not be played, because they're still incredibly strong. They're still the strongest mechanic in the game. You still have cards in the form of Link Monsters that do nothing, or that no other Xyz or Synchro can do. You still got Saryuja in the game, so always remember, you can, back in Master Rule 3, there was always a problem to where you flood the field with all these Synchros or Xyz, but you have no more space. You can now make space by turning them into Link Monsters, so something else you can do. When you're running out of space, just make a Saryuja and keep going. So, honestly, this is a great boost to combo decks, so I'm liking this. I feel like you can honestly keep the game the way it is now and not really have to hit too many things outside of like Mystic Mine, obviously, and wait for this new Master Rule comes out. This new Master Rule by itself will shake up the game if Needle Fiber doesn't already. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Love to hear what you guys think. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. This is Jay Money, and I am signing out.